Accommodation is very expensive. Mina is very hot. We used to have a very harsh weather, especially during the first semester. Before you choose Futminna as your choice of institution where you want to continue with your higher education, that is to pursue for a bachelor's degree, there are some harsh realities nobody is telling you and you need to hear about these. Hello again, you're welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, I am Emmanuel and I'm currently a second year cybersecurity student from the Federal University of Technology, Minna. Please subscribe to this channel if you have not, and don't forget to like this video, share, and also drop a comment. So yes, this video is going to be broken into two parts. So the first part is we are going to look at the 6 harsh realities of being an Futminna student, and the second part is how to survive against these odd harsh realities. I will like you to watch till the end of this video. You don't skip any part, please. If you skip any part, trust me, you're going to miss a lot. Okay, so yeah, so try and stick to the end of this video. Let us get into the 6 harsh realities we face as being an Futminna student. So the first one is, as a new student coming, I'm going to term it as expectation. Now, in this expectation, you will be expecting that, oh, the Federal University of Technology, Minna, should be found within Minna City, like as in it should be found inside the town or something thereabout. But the truth is, the school is not found inside Minna City. So we have 2 campuses, one in Boso and one in Gidankwano. So Boso is where the school started from. That was the origin of where it all started from as of 1st of February 1983. So yes, so the school continued to expand. So there was a need to relocate to a permanent site. So that was why Futminna, had to relocate from Boso to Gidankwano campus. So Gidankwano is found along Minna Road, the road that leads from Minna to Katarigi, and then it leads to Bida as well. So Futminna occupy about 10,650 hectares of land. So this is a very big portion of land, and it's going to be, the chances of having this sort of portion of land is very minimal inside the town. So what am I trying to say in this point? The point is that Futminna is not really found inside Minna town. It is found, around outskirts of Minna. Although it is not a village, but from the initial point of view, Gidankwano is like a village. But with the rapid expansion of campus so far, the student community has grown to like an extent that you won't even see Gidankwano like a village. So for Boso is found within town, so that is very okay. Although in Boso we only have 1 faculty left in Boso, we also have school for preliminary and other establishment as well left in Boso. So we just have a few students in Boso. But however, the major courses, the key courses that is what Futminna is all about today is found in Gidankwano campus. So I want you to lower your expectation, accept whatever environment you see yourself, when you come as a fresh student. So yes, the expectation should be, oh, I'm not expecting to be inside the town. You can actually get into the town, but the town is a bit far. It will cost you about 800 to 1,000 currently as I'm recording this video. However, in recent time to come, things might be, the price might change as well. So depending on how the economic situation is. So this is how it has been. So as a new person coming, if you are not from Niger State, trust me, the expectation will be like, oh, the school is going to be found in Minna town, and that is not true. The school is found a bit far from Minna City. So yes, lower your expectation. So this leads us to the second harsh realities of being an Futminna student. So I'm going to term this one as high cost of living. Yes, as an average Nigerian, there is always this high cost of living. But then, being a student and you are not from this very state, Niger State, there is a high cost of living depending on where you are coming from. So this part, I'm going to break it into 3. The first one we have is accommodation. The second one we have is food, And the third one we have is transportation. So let's start with accommodation. Trust me, accommodation is very, very expensive. We have lodges ranging from 200, 300, 350, 400, and even 450 to 500 thereabout, depending on your affordability, what you have at hand. So if you really want to stay in a better lodge, then you need to budget about 250 upward or 200 manageable. Now, I'm not saying you won't find lodges of 100 or 150 and above. You will find them, but trust me, you will not really be living comfortable. It might be an old lodge, lodge that have been existing for like more than 2 decades. You get, the floor is going to be rough, no tap water, and other amenities might be lacking as well. So, but then as someone who can actually manage, you can actually find this sort of lodge. But the truth is, it's rare to see lodges of 100, 100 thereabout. So if you really want to stay in a better lodge, you need to budget about 200 upward. Yes, the SUG have been trying to collaborate with the real estate manager so that they could have a price control, but sometimes these things get out of hand and the price is really expensive. Like the price is really expensive, so try and budget adequately as well. So that's for accommodation. So this leads us to food. So food is number two part of this, that is a sub under this high cost of living. Now for food, depending on where you are coming from, but because for me, where I'm coming from, food is a bit cheaper compared to Gidankwano campus here, because I'm staying in Gidankwano campus. Although in Boso, I used to hear that food is a bit cheap, but I've not been to that place. So yes, so food is a bit expensive. Let me give you these instances. Where I'm coming from, sometimes garri will be sold to be like 500, 400 in my place, but when I get to this place, garri will be like 700, 800. You can imagine. Rice will be like 1,500, but when I come to this place, rice is going to be like 2,000, 2,500, or even 2,700 as well. So for me, I see it as if it's a bit expensive here. So I would advise, if you are coming, try and stock non-perishable goods in lot, plenty as you can, so to avoid going to be buying all this sort of stuff in the market. So yes, food is a bit expensive, but it depends on where you're coming from. Where you're coming from, if you see that food is a bit expensive, you can just come over here and buy what you want. Although, however, as for yam, yes, they are very good when it comes to yam. They produce a lot of yam, so yam is a bit cheap in Minna here. So yeah, that's one good thing about it. So this leads us to the third part, which is transportation. So transportation is actually directly proportional to fuel price. If the fuel price is is a bit low, not that high, yes, accommodation don't have to be expensive. But if transportation increase, accommodation is transportation is kind of expensive. From school gate, that is, as an off-campus student, from school gate to your faculty, they could charge you 250, 300, of which is not really that far, but that's what it is. Even to even stop at the mosque or something, they'll collect like 150, which is not really far from the school gate. So sort of transportation is a bit expensive. But however, most often, if the fuel price reduce, depending on the economic state of the country, we used to have a very fair transportation price. Although the SUG have been trying as well, trying to work with the transportation guys, the keke and also the bike, because these are the two major means we use as transportation. We also have bus shuttle as well, buses that transport students. So that is that for transportation. So this now leads us to the third harsh realities of being an FUT MENA student. This one is on a natural base. So I'm going to term it as climatic factor. Yes, under this climatic factor, we have two factors. We have for sun and we have for rain. Trust me, MENA is very hot. We used to have a very harsh weather, especially during the first semester that spans from December to May or April thereabout, depending on how the calendar is. But most often from January to May, the weather used to be harsh. The degree of sun is a very, very hot here. If you're a student coming from the southern part of the country, you will have to find a way to adapt to the weather. But as for me, I'm actually coming from the north part of the country, so it's not a new thing. But the truth is, the degree of sun here is very hot. It's very, very hot. If you're actually walking under the sun, you feel like the sun is biting you or something. So the weather is very, very, very hot. There's this funny thing we used to stay as students. Are we close to the gate of hell? That is, we're not even in the far north, just within this north central, and Mina is very hot. Like, even during the rainy season, sometimes it could be raining, the place is hot, or it stopped raining and the place is just hot the next day or something there about. So the truth is, the weather is very, very harsh. So if you're a student coming from the southern part of the country, as I have just said so far, you have to find a way to get used to this weather, or else. So yes, the second part of it is late expectation of rainfall. There's always late expectation of rainfall. Other part of the country, by April, May, they'll start experiencing rainfall. Everywhere is green. But in Mina here, in April or May itself, everywhere is still dry up. I say, there will be this expectation of rain, but most often, the rain is mostly accompanied with a strong windstorm, and it disappeared. The rain will just drop, just a little droplet of water, that's all. And you cannot call that rainfall. So this continues as well, So when these two things join together, there's always a high degree of heat. You'll be sweating anyhow. That is why you see, as I'm making this video, I'm even sweating, and the weather is a bit, the temperature is a bit low, but still I'm sweating. So sometimes, the weather is very, very hot and a bit harsh. So a student coming from the southern part of the country, as I'm saying again, because any student coming from the north part of the country, will easily get used to this weather because it's something to get adopted with. So yeah, that's for climatic factor. So this one is a natural skill. As a student, you also have to find a controllable means. So just stick to the end of this video where I'm going to share how to cope. So this brings us to the fourth harsh realities of being an FUT student. If you are a fresh student, you can never understand this. Even if I tell you, you have to come and experience it. So I'm going to call it network issue. How we communicate, make calls, how we browse as well. There is a poor network coverage in Gidankwano campus here, but for those in Bosu, is in town, so they're enjoying a better network. So let me focus on the main campus, which is Gidankwano. There is a very, very poor network coverage, especially as students are staying off campus. We have few towers that is for network here. So most often, okay, let me rate this internet service provider network on this scale. Should I say Glo? Yes, Glo is best. Which one is even better, self? Okay, let me say MTN is better, and then Airtel is good. So this is on the scale. I don't think I'll consider 9 mobile. I don't think that number is even existing here on campus. So as a student that is staying in the hostel, there's a very good network coverage because inside the school there are many towers, trying to provide internet services within the school. But for off campus there, we experience a very, very bad networking. Sometimes it even depend on your location. If you're in a location that network, at least there is a bit you're closer to the tower, you at least experience a very, very good network coverage. So this has been for ages, even before I should come to Mina here, that is in Gidankwano campus, there has been a very, very bad network coverage. But trust me, the network coverage we have as of 1 year ago is not the same. Even like 2 to 3 years ago, is not the same. There has been an improvement. They have been trying to supply fiber optic cables, but trust me, there has been an issue to deal with it. In fact, sometimes in your room, you cannot have access to a very good network. You have to go outside to look for a network. Sometimes you have to even change your location as well. Things like that. So we used to experience this thing a lot. As this person coming from a place where there is a very, very good network coverage, that very first week of you coming to Gidankwano campus will be like a hell for you, because loading WhatsApp sticker alone takes time. To even listen to a voice note, it takes time. These things are things that should not be processed in seconds. These things need to be processed, but for our campus here, it takes time to load. It takes about like 30 to, depending on the coverage of that network, it can take you about a minute to load WhatsApp. Just an ordinary voice note. I can imagine if it's even a very long video. So all of these things, have been contributing to what we face as these harsh realities. There was a time we have to start tagging all these social network, on X, so that they could see our complaint and try to reach out to us here. Because as students, we are subscribing to this channel by buying data, airtime, and what have you. But the service they're providing for us here on campus is very, very bad. So as a student coming, just stick to the end of this video, where I'm going to share how to actually survive this. So yes, this brings us to the fifth part of this video. So the fifth part of it is let me call it this way. Now, Niger State, power state. That is the slogan for Niger State. So you should be expecting 24 hours of electricity, and that is not true. As Nigerians, there is always this bad electricity issue. It's a nationwide problem and stuff like that. Although as a student that's staying in the hostel, there's always, should I say 24 hours light. Otherwise, when the transformer blows or something, that is where they will stop having light. Or if the school decides to, just switch off the light for some moment, that's where they won't be having light. But they used to have light constantly in the hostel. But for student that is going to stay in off campus, and the truth is that the larger population of students stays in off campus. So let me rate it at this scale. Let's say we have 25,000 students. I'm going to say that 20,000 are staying off campus, and the 5,000 are just in the hostel. So you can see the population rates now. So electricity has been an issue here. Although they have been trying, welfares and others, they have been trying to see that we used to have stable light in off campus. But the truth is, for the fact that Niger State is the power state, sometimes we don't used to have light for but they are trying as well. Sometimes within a space of 48 hours, we could have light for about 12 hours thereabout. But this is still not good enough for students. Sometimes as students, we have to still move into the school. We have to check or transport ourselves into the school just to go and look for light to power our devices and other gadgets as well. So that is just one expectation as students are going to stay in off campus. So I wanted to lower this for the fact that the slogan says powerhouse, there is engine dam and what have you. There should be constant light. This is a very big lie, I'm going to say. So yeah, I'm not in any way trying to scare you, but just know that sometimes we used to have light issues. I think as of this very semester, this is 2026, the first semester, as I'm recording this video. As of February, we had light issue for like a month. There was no light. It looks like hell. You just have to survive by the grace of God and what have you. We have to start buying water, paying to charge our gadgets and what have you, or coming to school. Sometimes we even come to school. There's no light in school as well. So all these things have been contributing. It is very, very harsh. To live as a student. So this brings us to the last harsh realities of being an Futminna student. So yes, I think this one is actually is still connecting to light, that is electricity, in number 5. So yes, I'm going to say this one as water scarcity. So it is directly proportional to stable electricity, then water won't be any scarce resources. So now, most often when we have water scarcity, we have to start buying water from Mirror. They will charging us 300, 200 and what have you. Most often when there is no light in the off campus, as off campus, we are the ones facing these harsh realities most often. So we have to start buying Mirror, and the cost of buying water from these truck pushers. Buy like 5 gallons, or 2 gallons daily. It will cost you, because as students who is not working, it's not a student that is working. So as a student who is not working, you have to start looking for money. You have to start saving money just for water issue. However, during the rainy season, water is not really an issue. Where water used to be an issue is during the first semester, that start around December or January thereabout to April, May. There's always water scarcity, especially as a student that is staying in a lodge where it is cooling well. These are lodges of about 100 to 170 thereabout, or 150 as the case may be. the well used to dry up during the dry season. Trust me, water is very, very bad. The color of the water used to be muddy. I don't know, but it's like an environmental factor here when it comes to water. Even the villagers are struggling. There's this high competition for water, especially during the dry season. So yes, but most often when there's electricity, when there's stable light, you see different lodges, different people, selling water, because buying fuel to be pumping all these things and be supplying it to the people, or as students, even selling alone self, the kind of resources you have to invest in before you can start sales in order to make gain and what have you. So yes, there is a scarcity of water, especially during the first semester. This brings us to the last harsh realities that I have said so far. So as a student watching this video, as an aspirant, as a fresher, now I don't want you to be scared of all these harsh realities I have mentioned so far. If you're actually scared, you can run away from the school, but the truth is, even if you run away from the school, thousands of students will apply and they will gain admission, and others will not still gain admission to this prestigious Federal University of Technology, Minna. So yes, I just want you to see the real truth. I'm not trying to hide anything, nor should I say I'm trying to spoil the name of the school or anything. I just wanted to hear this plain truth. If I actually heard this truth, these harsh realities before coming, although some told me other parts of this point I just mentioned, but not all. I have to come and experience the reals on my own way, learn from it, and try to cope with them. So yes, so that's also. So finally, this brings us now to the second section of this video, which is how to survive against these odd harsh realities. So for point number one, which I said expectation, the only way you can cope with this is just accept where you see yourself. Just know that okay, this is just for a very short period of time. It's just 5 years, and after 5 years I am gone. Thousands of students have come, have graduated, become captains of industries, against all these odd harsh realities. You just faced it within just 5 years and it was over. As a student that you're coming from a very good home or something that is well to do, you could try to look for possible ways to adjust to the place by staying in a better lodge, trying to live in that very condition so that you still have this idea, oh, I'm still staying at home. You get, so that's just it. So GK is like a village, but then just lower your expectation. People are there, the campus has been growing rapidly. So yes, so that's that for that. Yeah, so just accept the reality of whatever you see. GK is not going to buy it you. So for point number two, which was on high cost of living, so how you can actually survive this is how to cope with it. So for accommodation, I would advise you try to budget adequately so that you can actually stay in a better lodge. You get, as this student who is struggling, try to save enough so that if you really want to stay in a comfortable, better lodge where there is a tap water running, the environment is clean, there's a tiled surface and what have you, just try and save enough, at least to 300,000 naira thereabouts. You can actually get a better lodge. So yes, then for food, just try and stock in, try to buy plenty non-perishable goods, things like gari, rice. Should I say beans? No, for beans you can easily be attacked by weevil. Just try and save a lot of non-perishable goods that you can, so that even if you buy others here, they're just perishable goods that you can easily get them. I think it will really go a long way for you. You get, so they used to make this fun. Come with one bag of curry. So I used to say come with one bag of rice, fried rice or what have you. Yes, the truth is if you can actually come with these kind of things, trust me, if these things is kept in a very good condition, they don't spoil easily. So they can actually take you for about about the whole section, or 1 semester plus, and it will go a long way for you and really minimize the rate at which you'll be buying things here, because things are really expensive, unlike except yam otherwise. So yes, then for transportation, as a student who spend a lot, and you're staying off campus, there are times that you'll be on a zero scale. You will not be having anything. So as this wise student, I would advise you to, cultivate the habit of saving. It will save you a lot, because sometimes something might just come up, unexpectedly, and you need to transport yourself. You need to just transport using bike or keke to the school, and you don't have anything. You have to check under that harsh weather, and it's a bit far. Especially students that are staying in the School of Physical Sciences or School of Life Sciences. That school is literally far. It's far. So because trekking to that school is not easy. So yes, just try and cultivate this habit of saving. I think it will really, really go a long way and help you to actually survive this. So even if you don't even have enough to save, you can actually transport yourself from the school gate to the bus park, that is the runabout inside the school. I think from there, students that are in the School of Agric and School of Information and Communication Technology can easily trek to that place. Or even if you want to head straight to the library, it is not far from the runabout. You get, so things like this could go a long way for you. So yeah, just cultivate that habit of saving. So for point number 3, which is climatic factor, that is for harsh weather and rainfall, how to easily get used to this is, number 1, I'm going to say, is you have to free yourself to get adopted to the weather. Otherwise you'll be struggling with yourself. So yes, so a few things you can get is try and get an umbrella, especially the ladies that don't like walking under the harsh weather. You can try and get an umbrella. You can try and have sunglasses. Yeah, you could try to get a fan. That one looks like, try and get a fan, because during this heat period, especially during the first semester, you will sweat. But as a student, if you can actually budget, try and get a fan. Fan is not expensive. It's not really that expensive. You can get a mini fan, solar fan or whatever, any kind of fan. Just try and get a fan. And then for the boys as well, you can try to get a facing cap. Facing cap helps a lot as well. Then, if you are this sort of person that's coming from the southern part of the country where it rains a lot and most of the shirts are thick, you try and get light clothes. Light. I think it will help you, because if you start wearing thick clothes here, you will feel uncomfortable and you will have to get a new set of light clothes so you can feel uncomfortable. Although during the rainy season as well, we used to feel cold, but most often it could rain now and the place could still be hot. So things like that. So just try to get a moderate clothes that you can be wearing, because hoodies are, you can bring hoodies as well, maybe during the August, because in August we used to experience continuous rainfall. You know how August works, that's the way August rain is in the country as a whole. So yes, that's for the climatic factor. So with these few things, at least you can easily survive as today, and we have been surviving with all these things put in place. So for point number 4, which was on network. So for network issue, how we used to cope as students and how you will eventually cope as well is, number 1 is you have to leverage on the school Wi-Fi as the student who is just coming. And if you are this sort of person that really need internet to extract a lot of things from the school, most often we read using our phone, and you have to log into your dashboard, extract materials. It could be video, slide and what have you. You have to the school Wi-Fi is there, so any faculty you go, there is always a Wi-Fi. In departments we have Wi-Fi. In other establishment, these are like this infrastructures, let's say the ITS, we have some ICT places as well, we used to have Wi-Fi there. So you can easily leverage on those Wi-Fi. I think it will help you, because if you are going to stay in that off campus, you'll be struggling a lot even with your own data, but you cannot extract what is there using the Wi-Fi. So another one is, if you are this person that is lucky to stay in a lodge where there is a Starlink. Starlink is a very, very good and a very, very faster network compared to even these normal ISP providers. These are like the Glo, MTN and whatever. If you're this student that is lucky to stay in a lodge that has a Starlink or an extended Starlink network using a router has been extended to your lodge, then I must say you are lucky. So browsing will not really be an issue. What you need to do is you just get a voucher, or you just subscribe to them, and then for just within a period of 1 month, it could be 2 weeks, depending on the scale of for the network. So that's how we used to cope. So Starlink has been expanding rapidly. Students actually have enough money used to get Starlink for themselves, and most often they used to share it with the neighborhood lodges. So this is what has been really helping us as students. And so yeah, then another one is, should I say, should get a growth sim? Depending on how you see it, but for me, it has forced me to get a Glo SIM, because honestly, Glo SIM has been the best network for me when it comes to browsing compared to other networks. I have tried this thing practically, and I'm not the only person that even going to recommend Glo for you. Many people I know, of students that I know use Glo network. In fact, even the school network, they use Glo as the school ISP. So that's to say that Glo is a very, very good network here. So I would advise you try and get a Glo SIM if you can. And yeah, so Glo SIM is not a must, but you can try and get a Glo SIM. But you can still use your MTL, LTL depending on your location. But at least generally, Glo has been very. So for electricity, yeah, it sounds funny actually. Now, as this student that is planning to stay off campus, I would advise you to try and get a power bank. Before even the power bank first, I would advise you get a very, very good phone if you are just coming as a fresher, because most often you will be using your phone to study, because the 100 level stuff, you guys rarely used to have physical lectures. You do have physical lectures, but most often it's just departmental courses. For general courses like math, GST, COS and what have you, that's computer instruction computer science and what have you, they are mostly online, in which you have a dashboard that you access and extract whatever they upload for you guys. The material could be a video, it could be a slide, or a PDF. So you expect to extract those things and study on your own. Trust me, those things are not hard. They are just knowledge, the things you have done in your secondary school. So yes, that's for electricity. So try and get a very good phone and a power bank. Also try and get a lamp in case you want to study in the night. You want to study in your room and there is no light. With a lamp, it will really go a long way for you. Things that will help you provide light. It could be torchlight, it could be solar lights, or what have you. So these are things that will help you in terms of electricity when there is no electricity on campus. Even if you have PC as well, you can bring them that you can use as well. So most often, if there is no light off campus, you have to force yourself to go to school, or you pay those guys along the road, charging points to help you charge. So these are ways we have been surviving as students. So please get a good phone and a power bank as a fresher. Very, very important. With this thing, even if there's no light for like 72 hours, you can still be able to use your phone and other gadgets as well. So lastly, which is on water scarcity, I think I'm going to still relate it to get a better lodge. So try and get a better lodge where there is a tap water running there, because if you're going to stay in a lodge where there is well, you a bit suffer during the first semester. During the heat period, that is the dry season, you will suffer, because most often there will be high competition for well. And then another part is you have to save enough to be buying water from these truck pushers. We mostly call them Meruas water, because they are these Hausa guys, and when they come, they always keep shouting Garua, Garua, Garua. That is, buy water, or see water, come and buy our water. So that's for water scarcity as well. So yeah, that's for water scarcity. And sometimes you have to force yourself to fetch water from the neighborhood. The neighborhood lodges have been trying sometimes. If there is electricity as well, they supply water for us. Mostly as students who are staying off campus, you have to just beg them, and you can fetch fetch as plenty as you want as well. As students, we help ourselves, we help each other just to survive and live comfortable. So these has been things that have been passing through, have been helping us, and these are just possible ways we have been surviving on campus. Yes, that's all for this video. So I believe this sees harsh realities and how to survive. By watching this video, you'll really start to imagine how it will feel like as this fresh student who is coming to Futminna. So I don't want to scare you, but I want you to know these harsh realities and possible ways to survive them. We have been surviving as students, as I've been saying, and you can also survive it as well. There's nothing hard here. Things have even started to get better. We have been seeing signs of improvement, most often from things that will be handled by men, not for weather and other aspects of that, just naturally. That one, it is only takes the grace of God, and also change in climatic factor or what have you. That's where those things will change. So yeah, so that's all for this video. Please, if you found this video helpful, please don't forget to subscribe to this channel, like this video, and also share this video to a friend of yours who is aspiring to apply to the Federal University of Technology, Minna. So which harsh realities as a student I did not mention? If you're currently studying FUT Minna, please just drop them in the comment section so that our freshers, our aspirants will get to know. So yes, thank you very much for watching this video. So if you are currently aspiring for cybersecurity, don't worry, I'm here for you guys. I'm currently studying cybersecurity. I could be a very, very good help to you. Trying to share with you things we have learned so far, how cybersecurity is in FUT Minna or what have you. So yes, what kind of video do you want me to make as an aspirant who really want to come to the Federal University of Technology, Minna? Please drop them in the comment section. I'll be glad to help you guys. So yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video. Please subscribe, like this video, and share. So bye bye.